Alright guys, back with your boy Amazing Outdoor Enthusiast. So today we will be reviewing three different reels, comparing the three different reels. Also, we'll be throwing out the pricing of them and also the quality as of what they're giving and what would make sense for us to be using and what is the best thing to be using in which environment. So let's get right into it. So today we have the Nexave 2500. So these are all 2500 series so that we can have a proper comparison. So this is the Nexave 2500 HG. This is the G free body version. So as of the Sianna is the Sianna 2500 HG, which is also the S system and also the G free body. And we have a different brand, which is the Penn. This is the Penn Pursuit 2500, which is one of the best reel that I've been using out there so far. And this is a reel that is basically like a hybrid. I can use it in sweet and salt water, which is amazing because in our day and age, not everybody use salt water because depending on where they're living, especially if you're living in Canada, you'll be fishing only sweet water. So but if you're in America and you're in Florida or whatsoever, you go fishing in Florida, saltwater, sweetwater, you may want to have something more heavy duty. So that's why today we'll be comparing them and also telling, the price range for each one of them. So as we can feel, all of these different reels, they have different weight on them. I've already braided this one on, but it's all different setup, and they're all the 6:1 ratio. So they're all the same ratio whatsoever and same size roughly, but I find that compared to the Sianna is starting from $44.99, right? $45, right? Which is much cheaper make. It's more, it feels a little bit more flimsier. It's not so bad compared to like the cheaper models, cheaper brands, but it's still sturdy, it's still workable, you can still use it. If you're not pro fishing, then you wouldn't really notice as of the difference. But if you're pro fishing and you're fishing out there like every weekend, then you wanna be careful as of what you're using and what quality, because you want it to last for a very long time. This here is going the Shimano 2500 Nevex or Nexave. Yeah, the Nexave. So this one here is basically going for $84.99 at Cabela's, Bass Pro, Canadian Tire sale. And we have the Penn Pursuit, which is the 2500 that is selling for, I do believe, $79.99 at Cabela's. You can get it at Bass Pro and Canadian Tire. There's many places that's selling this brand because right now it's one of the big hitting brands right now that's out there, that is heavy duty and that is also for salt and sweet water rated. So this is something that I really like so far because I've cast it out and it's like literally flying. So for all these three reels, I do know that these two is very alike and very same for the 2500, and I do see Penn coming out with a different, more heavy duty, more sturdy, more harsh kind of temperature, harsh weather, harsh environment kind of ready, right? So this is something you want to look at if you're out around the world, maybe around saltwater. If you're going for a trip, let's say to the Caribbeans, or you're going for a trip in Florida, you want to have this reel instead of those other two, because number one, saltwater, it'll mess your reel up. And as you can see, I have this thing, I've been using this thing in saltwater when I went on my Florida trip, and there has been no corrosion, no nothing. I haven't washed it or anything, but as you can see, it's still in good condition, no problem. So that is something you want to look out there. And also, if you're looking at the difference of pricing from $84.99 to $45.99, they're not so far off in difference, right? This do come with a metal arm, same as this, right? But this one is more smooth in comparison to the Sianna. The Sianna is so. It's all right, but it's just one of those reels that is a high quality if you're moving from like the low end brands and the cheaper reels. This will be your next upgrade. Why is because you don't want to jump into something that is professional and then it's too expensive for you. And then you end up not going fishing because all your gears is too expensive. And also, I know a lot of fishermen, even I am. I used to be very cheap on my reels and my rods. Why? Because I used to have cheaper reels and rods and they break. So I always thought that they're all the same, but eventually I realized they're not. Why is because when I start putting my money into some good quality reels and rods, I find that they end up lasting way longer than the cheaper ones. And also, you want to be careful. If you're fishing a lot, you want to get something that lasts you almost like 6, 7 seasons, right? If you're in Canada, like that's like 6, 7 years. So what happened here is, if you get cheaper stuff, they might break. You may use it every season. But if you had to buy two of this for 45.99, you're basically paying the equivalent of this. But if this lasts you for 2 seasons, this may last you for six. So you may want to know what you do, right? And also, I find that your reel really matters as of what type of brand of like what type of line you're using as well. If you're using the cheapest braided line or the cheapest line out there, I mean, you can't expect these things to perform as well. So you may want to invest in proper line as well, because and I use braided, but this is a 15-pound test, and it's been working really good for me. But I mean, depending on the fish you're trying to catch too, right? And also how far you want to cast it out, because I find that when I was casting on lily pads, I did bust it off because it's a 15-pound when I got hooked up and snagged in the weeds. So I mean, that was something, because I'm used to 30-pound braided. But I mean, you can't always get what you want. But end of the day, if you have to choose from money and quality, I would choose the middle one, right? When it comes to high end quality, performance, and also the weight. It's very light and also it's very balanced. But if this is only for sweetwater, right? So I mean, if you're fishing sweetwater and bass, pickerel, pike, muskie, and smaller fishes in the sweetwater, then this you can use, that will last you for years. But if you're going for saltwater, and you might fish saltwater even like a few times a year, or maybe 2 or 3 times in a season, then you might want to get this, because the Penn Pursuit, they're very, very strong, and they built their reels and their products to withstand like harsh environment. So even if you drop this in the water and you pick it back up, I mean, each season you may need to service it. If you're using it in salt water, you may need to do a full service, meaning like greasing it, pulling everything out, and cleaning it up, getting all the salt and the sand out of it. So washing it and all of that, and then re-greasing it and putting it back together. That is something you may want to take a look at. Also, if you have these reels, even the cheaper reels, and you finally use it for a few seasons, but you realize that it's not the same as when you bought it, it could be because you haven't done a service for a very long time. So you may want to look into your old reels that you have and do a service on them and see what it's like, because all of these reels, they may be high quality stuff, but you have to understand, people who put more money into reels, if they don't have that much money, they take care of their stuff. But some guys, they don't really take care of it. They just throw it away, throw it in a corner. I mean, that can cause harm. But for these reels, they don't come with a plastic arm. They are all metal arms. So these ones here can withstand way more harsher environment and also tougher situations. For example, dropping your rods, hitting your rods, you're always throwing it into your trunk kind of situation. These rods can take a scratch and still keep going. But if you're going into the cheaper ones, like the $20 rods and reels combo, and you find that everything is plastic, but then you find that you use it once or twice, and then when you hook the big fish, the biggest fish you ever got, and then you find that the gear, you're reeling it in, then the gear start grinding up. Why is that? It's because the arm is metal already. So because the arm is metal, the gears inside of here, right, the teeth that is holding it, it starts spinning because you're pulling in such a big fish. You probably didn't even set your spool, and it damages everything. But as of for these guys, they can withstand anything. They can withstand even if you maxed out on your spool. Like if you tighten your spool max and it's still pulling out drag, they can still withstand for still bringing that fish in. Like when you're on really, really big fish, you're really, your PB, your personal best, that is something that these things will still go through with. But the cheaper ones, I don't recommend buying cheaper stuff if you're fishing every day, but I do recommend buying anything if you never fished before. And if you're one of those guys that is looking to start fishing, then you may want to look into maybe this might be like more of a beginner, the Sianna, right? This might be more of the beginner reel. As for the other ones, maybe for professional and intermediate. So if you've been catching fish and you're starting to use cast and reel, and you've been using fake baits more, and you start using these lures and catching more fish, then you might want to hook yourself up with one of these. And also, both Sianna and the Nexave are made in Malaysia, which is shown as a really, really good brand. If you ever seen their mark underneath on the bottom boot, if it says China or it says if it says China, then don't get it, right? That might be the cheapest or a knockoff. But if it says Vietnam and Japan and Malaysia, then those are the three good signs that you know that you're having a quality reel and a professional and valid reel. So if it's made from other countries like China, then you may want to know where you're getting your stuff from. Maybe it's a replica. But these Penn Pursuit, I haven't seen replicas of them yet, right? But they are very, very, very durable and strong. So if you guys like this video, you haven't subscribed yet, then like, share, and also subscribe. And hit that notification button. Why? Because the next time I have a video uploaded, you'll be the first one to see it.